Just reminds me of the Brazilian World Cup. You know, the Brazil.
I forgot about that.
On the ITV adverts.
Nope, don't recall that. Probably
You
a
don't
good thing.
recall that? Oh, it's the best thing about that tournament. Apart from when Germany beat them 7-0. Or 8-0, 8-1. Something crazy. Anyway, that'll do as the start of the podcast. So, hello. And welcome back to the final corner for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, not Brazilian Grand Prix, but the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Oh, did we get that wrong the other week?
But it changed a few years ago to Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking at the BBC here and it says Brazilian Grand Prix, but alright, fair enough.
The official title is the Heineken Grande Premio de Sao Paulo.
Right, yes, I do remember that now. We might have said that as well. Sao Paulo Grand Prix, interesting.
Yep. So I think it's the local tourist board wanted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Sao Paulo Grand Prix, and we also missed the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So we'll need to talk about that briefly. Tom, Nick, any thoughts on Mexico?
Max won.
That'll do.
When we got the prediction wrong, I was confident of a Perez win. But that didn't work out.
No. Highlight was Daniel Ricciardo actually doing some overtaking.
Yes.
Looked like he was a decent Formula 1 driver again.
And his gun thing that he did when he was overtaking Ocon.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I missed that. Did he do something with his fingers?
Yeah. He sort of aimed his finger at the car in front and did a shooting motion as he went to overtake.
Oh my word, that's insane. I mean, I think it was very boring, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Mexico?
Yes. Horrible.
Ricardo
I'm
did
glad
really
we
well,
didn't
but he smashed out Tsunoda in the process, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I was glad we didn't have a full podcast to talk about it because it was dreary.
Yeah.
At
Good
least
podium.
Brazil was the podium was good, but Brazil was actually a good weekend in every session. Bit of news though today as we're recording, it's confirmed that Nico Hülkenberg is back in at Haas next year.
And what at 5:59 a.m.
Oh, was it?
What's that about?
Was it an American press release from Haas?
Oh,
I'm trying to think which way the time...
no,
Sounds like
they'd be asleep. They would be definitely asleep. I suppose
So,
it's 7 a.m. Central European time for Germany. But yeah, so that was... I woke up extremely early because of our cat this morning and was greeted by Nico Hülkenberg's face. And so,
Not for
actually,
the first time.
even earlier... But also, even earlier than that, Schumacher announced he was parting ways as well, right? So that was,
Yeah.
what, 5:30 in the morning? Oh, my word. Sorry if I spoiled your tee up there, Colin, that you were going to cover that next. But
No, so Mick's gone. There's rumoured he might be going to Mercedes for a reserve role.
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy to see the Hulk back.
Yeah, me too.
Man who deserves to be in F1, I think. So I'm quite happy to see him get a seat. A lot of people are upset that Mick's gone, but for me, he's just been too inconsistent all year.
Yeah. He's better than he was last year, that's for sure, but I don't think he progressed enough.
Well, he did qualify 20th this week when his teammate stuck on pole.
Yeah.
So wasn't probably a good look for him going into the final race.
I like the fact that Gunter said that even if Mick had put it on pole, he still would have gone.
Yeah, I think they'd made this decision a while ago, to be honest. So, you guys upset about Mick going?
yeah, I think I'd like to see him in a more competitive or consistent car, but certainly Magnussen has smashed him. But it's his first year against a competitive driver. It's tricky.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a reserve drive and maybe gets to do some like GT or some other sort of race in the meantime that helps show his talent.
Yeah. I mean, he still does have an outside chance of being on the grid next year, doesn't he? If Logan Sargent doesn't get his super license.
Do you think he's the backup? Is that confirmed? Or?
It's not confirmed, no, but it would make sense from Williams' point of view to have someone in there. Sort of current, anyway, shall we say. But Logan Sargent would have to do a lot of things wrong or just crash out and not finish any races to... Because I think he's third in the championship, he needs fifth.
again, just goes back to the point of why is the F2 season ending this late? Because you're going to have to, if he doesn't get it, sort of a replacement in the midst of winter when maybe Mick or someone else gets another drive elsewhere that's lucrative and I'll go drive in the World Endurance Championship, thanks. Or I'll get this reserve drive at this top team that won't allow me to race there. These things are already happening, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, look at Sargent or bust, it feels like.
I don't know. What's Maldonado up to these days?
I don't think he's doing anything. He was in LMP2, wasn't he, for a bit? In WEC in Le Mans?
No idea.
Yeah, but I don't know what he's doing currently.
Nothing useful, probably.
But yeah, I do think Logan Sargent could get it. Doesn't he get a point? I think you might have said it already, I'm not sure. A point for doing the free practice for so many laps?
Yes, he does.
That helps his case, doesn't it? And then he has to get the points in the F2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he failed 2 laps short in Mexico because his car broke down. So he had to do FP1 or 2 again this weekend. So he's got the mileage, so that helps him now. So, on to Brazil. We missed all the cost cap news, but it's so far ago I don't want to talk about it.
No.
Yeah, skip that.
Yeah, skip all that.
It's been done. There's a fine and a penalty. Move on.
Yes. So, Interlagos, wet qualifying, Friday night qualifying, because it's a sprint weekend, and incredibly, Kev Magnussen sticks it on pole, thanks to George Russell, but he he gets out the pits first in Q3 on a dry track, puts the fastest lap in, and then George Russell chucks it in the wall, or chucks it in the gravel. And then by the time the session restarts, it's peeing rain. So Kevin Magnussen gets his first pole ever, as does Haas. And it was a brilliant Friday night.
It was. It was brilliant to see. And it was good as well because he didn't just... Well, yeah, he lucked into it in some regards, but he was the quickest driver out of the 10 on that one lap.
Yeah.
Everyone else had the same chance as him to get a quick lap, so...
100%, and he had to get through to Q3 in the first place as well, which his teammate in the same car didn't. And he was quick in Q2. So, yeah, good to Steiner. What did he say? Man, when it rains, you need to have the umbrella ready or something? Oh, God, I've ruined it. It was way funnier than that. When it rains soup, you're going to have the spoons.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but that's blown my mind.
But it's right because it's not. Oh yeah, right. It's kind of fluky, but it's not. The hard work was put in place to put him in that position, and then he had to deliver.
Max.
Yeah, there you go. In the same scenario. So
Ferrari did their usual blunder in the Q3 and stuck Charles Leclerc out on a dry track with inters. He did get caught back in the pits, but he decided to stay out and do a lap on the inters, which was nowhere, and had to pit. He had to pit after anyway, and then by the time he put the slicks on, George Russell had already decided to put it in the gravel. He had 2 attempts to put it in the gravel, and he made sure the second time. Because he went through the gravel, he was fine, and then floored it and spun his car right around in the gravel. Which, that wasn't a good look. But it did confirm Magnussen on pole and Russell on third for the race. So with a slightly mixed up grid, which is always fun.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't. I'll tell you why. Well, it goes back to my previous rant. These new rules, fantastic. Cars look great. They can drive closer, but the field spread is too big. So you've got the mixed up grid, but you're almost like, all right, yeah, there goes the Ferrari, there goes the Mercedes, there goes the Red Bull. Oh, we're back to the natural order. You know, if it was a mixed up grid and the cars were a bit closer, I'd be more excited. But maybe I'm getting a bit old now. It could be just my age. The really sad thing is apparently I share a birthday with Christian Horner. Ugh.
Oh, that's a shame.
Big shame. Joint party.
We can have a watch party for the Gran Turismo movie that Jerry Halliwell's in.
Jerry Halliwell's in the Gran Turismo movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
She doesn't act, does she?
She's gonna be playing the mum.
Nor sing.
She was, and we all remember her fantastic performance in Spice World, the movie.
Now,
remember
Richard E. Grant's in that, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Oscar nominated. I've never seen the film though. Gotta be honest.
Have you not?
No, am I missing out?
I don't want to spoil the plot, but I think I'm pretty sure they stole the plot from Speed. And
Oh, really?
They put a bomb on their tour bus.
I don't remember. I have seen it once a long time ago, and all I remember
I
is
hope
that
that's just
something with a bus.
Yeah, I hope that's not a weird fantasy, and I'm just thinking about the Spice Girls on a bus with a bomb. But I am pretty sure that is what it's about.
You're not thinking of the Jackass movie?
No,
Okay.
I am currently looking up the plot points for.
Well, this podcast
So-
has taken an unexpected twist.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just spoiled the ending.
Does it? Can you really spoil a movie like that?
Sorry, that's the end. The bomb's at the end. I've just spoiled it. Apologies, Tom.
You're never going to get to watch it now.
Yeah, there's no
Oh,
point.
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jerry Halliwell.
Well, Red Bull.
No, sorry, Red Bull. F1 sprint.
Yes. That's
So
it. Sorry,
it's
I
a
was having a
sprint.
moan undeservedly because it was interesting.
The sprint, yeah, the sprint was good.
Mm.
Sprint race or sprint?
No, just sprint. Just sprint.
Yep.
Oh, no,
So,
just quickly. Sorry. Oh, I know you're getting ready there. We
Okay.
need to talk about the fact that Magnussen. It's all. I think we wanted this, but now in reality it's awkward because somebody wins the sprint
Mm-hmm.
and they start in the front row, but they're not the pole position holder. So
Yeah.
in the records, Magnussen is forever now and Haas are pole position holders. That's an amazing stat. But then it's
Indeed.
confusing when someone crosses the line first and they can't say that's their second ever, first ever pole position. They very specifically worded the commentary. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, I still kind of think that's the best of a bad choice. Because when it was the
Yeah.
other way around last year, I think it was more confusing.
True,
Yeah.
because then the person who's quickest in qualifying doesn't get pole position.
Yeah. But neither one is particularly
Yeah.
right. But they are
Anyway,
looking at changing it, aren't they? So
Oh, really? Well,
the format, I mean.
It's a format created simply for extra TV numbers, right?
Mhm.
Not necessarily for the betterment of the fans, perhaps. But anyway.
Well, they're considering
you do-
making sprint into a standalone race, so it doesn't have any bearing on the main Grand Prix.
Right, so then the qualifying positions are still the grid for the next day, but then...
Yes. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but
Well, there are going to be 6 sprints next year.
yes.
They've got to sort it out.
I quite like it when you do it on a proper racetrack like this
Yeah.
because you actually get a race.
So you're saying no sprints in the Middle East?
Correct.
Because we're going to be
No
there
sprints
4 times next year? 3 times.
Yep. No sprints at Spa because Spa's terrible these days.
Oh!
So we don't want them there. There's only about 4 tracks you could probably have them on, but we're going to have 6 next year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which ones would be good, but
Well,
my
we'll
brain
have to,
does not work.
yeah, well, we'll revisit that. Apologies for the tangential nature of that
Yep.
debate. Colin's been trying to talk about the sprint for a good 15 minutes now. Let's go.
So, sprint race.
Wait.
Magnussen managed You shut up. Sprint race. Magnussen keeps the lead into turn 1. Norris tries to nick up the inside, but fails. Got a preview for the next day. So, turn 4, Ocon and Alonso are side by side. Ocon tried a really narrow dive on the cars in front, failed, and then Alonso appeared on his outside. Alonso gets pushed onto the curb, he almost loses the car, bumps into the side of Ocon, and there's some damage on both. Then, later in the lap, Alonso drives into the back of Ocon, breaks his front wing, and effectively ruins both their Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he got I'm not sure he got a penalty or a warning for that.
He did get a grid penalty, I think it was.
So, yeah, he tried to blame Ocon for it.
Oh,
Run at the back of the
and
straight,
really
but-
badly. He was listing every time Ocon's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he did this, he did that, he did that. Oh, give it a break.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was all you, Fernando.
it was.
The turn 4 one I thought was a bit hit or miss because Ocon's going in so narrow.
Yeah.
He's always going to run out to the exit curb.
But Alonso loses it on the curb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Like,
just a
I know-
racing incident.
Yeah, exactly.
It just looks bad when it's teammates.
Yes.
It's because you've got one who's already signed up and one who's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with Aston Martin, we've seen a similar trend where they're both battling each other too hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because one of the drivers got nothing to lose. The relationship doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ocon doesn't do that. He'll play nice with teammates.
No.
So it's gonna be fireworks at Alpine next year with his pal Pierre joining.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting.
yeah, it will be. So Max then takes the lead into turn 1 on lap 3, I think. So Magnussen managed to lead a couple of laps, but then he just falls right through the pack and ends up finishing, I think, 7th. He got a point out of it
8th.
at the end of the day. 8th. He probably got a point out of it at the end of the day.
Which is very crucial for the team standings, correct?
Yeah.
They're very, very close with AlphaTauri.
Yep.
And there's still only 1 point in it, I think, or 2 points, going into the final round.
Yeah, it's very close.
And it's worth several million, that difference.
Vettel then tries to overtake Stroll coming out turn 3, and Stroll hasn't learned a thing from Austin and cuts across the track, puts Vettel onto the grass, which Seb managed to hold it, gets the position, but eventually I think the next lap his teammate gets the position.
Yeah.
He got a 10-second penalty for that because he's an absolute idiot.
Yep.
And he's going to end up killing someone weaving on a straight.
I did watch a video, which is, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something on the lines of 16 occasions where people crash while trying to overtake Lance Stroll. And it is, every single one, it's him having no spatial awareness of what's going on around him.
He's been doing it since Formula 3.
Yeah.
That was a trait at the time, before he progressed into the F1 ladder in Formula 3. Oh yeah, he's quick, he's talented, but he forces people around.
Yeah.
So if you've been getting away with it your whole career, you're never going to change.
No. When you've got a team boss who will let you do what you like, that just doesn't help either.
He's an absolute tool.
Yes.
And
I've just got this
he's
video
gonna
now, can't wait to watch it later.
he's going to get a ban at some point, I think. That's 2 in 3 races.
Yeah.
Done. And he got away with this one with not damaging Vettel, but 10-second penalty for him, which completely ruined his weekend, basically.
Yeah, it's stupid. He wasn't even going to achieve anything by blocking him anyway. Vettel was much faster. So, yeah. Try not to swear.
Up front, and Verstappen's the only one on medium tyres and begins to struggle. Russell closes up and has a couple of goes down into turn 4, but Max manages to defend it. There was one where he got a cut back going up the hill on 6, but still managed to hold the position. And then I think on the third attempt, he manages to get him on the straight down to turn 4. So Russell takes the lead and goes on to win the sprint, which I think gets him 8 points.
It does, yeah.
I think. I didn't notice. I didn't see them do like the lorry with them on the back of it.
I think
Like
they
they
only
used to
did
do in
that
sprints.
at Silverstone in the first one. I think that was the only time they did it.
Ah, right. I thought that was a regular thing.
I may be wrong on that, but it's the only time I remember it happening.
On the back of their Crypto.com lorry.
Yes, with the wreaths that they had to wear.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, didn't see that. So, but yep, George won. Well done to him.
could have been worse. Could have been FTX lorry.
Well, I think it's looking a bit dodgy, any sort of crypto sponsorship right now.
And F1 is filled with it.
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes had to remove their FTX sponsorship last weekend off their car.
Yeah. I mean, no, let's not go down there.
I have 0.04 bitcoins on this laptop, I think, but I can't get it off.
0.4 Bitcoin is quite enough. It's quite,
0.04.
Oh.
So it'll be like 200 quid or something. But I can't get it off the laptop. The laptop's so old that the software that I was using is out of date. Apparently there's a way you can find your wallet and move it to another device, a newer program. But yeah, my MacBook won't display where the wallet is, so I've lost my Bitcoin. I did have 0.1 at one point, and then I spent it on something stupid online, I think. So
Yeah.
and then about 2 years ago, that would have been worth like $4,000.
That sounds dodgy.
Mm.
Yeah, crypto's great. Don't get involved.
No.
So Alex Albon's out of the race. Don't know, don't care, but he's out. Sainz then sends one up the inside of turn 1 on Verstappen, and then there's a bit of contact which breaks Verstappen's front wing off. Lap 20, Hamilton passes him and then manages to finish P3 at the end of the day. Perez was hoping to get the position off of Max, but I thought they were fair not to reverse him in the sprint. That would be a bit daft. But Sainz finishes second, but drops 5 places for the Grand Prix with an engine penalty.
Yes, true. So it's a Merkel front row, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A rare occasion.
Yeah, but deserved as well.
They were quick, really quick in the race. I was impressed by not only their speed, but how well George managed trying to overtake Max.
Yeah.
He didn't put himself in a position for Max to do something stupid to him.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was quite clever. So on to the main Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Russell kept the lead off the line. Both Red Bulls go side by side into turn 1. Lando tries to nick up the inside of both of them and has to take avoiding action over the inside curb to avoid a crash. Then in the middle of the lap, Ricciardo bumps Magnussen. Got a slight wee tap on his right rear wheel, which sends Magnussen spinning. Kevin rolls backwards across the track. Ricciardo tries to go around him. They end up smashing both cars out with rear damage, which brings out the safety car. I'm going to promote my own tweet here. It says, 2016, Ricciardo was back in Mexico, and suddenly 2022, Ricciardo's reappeared.
Yeah.
He's got
clumsy.
It's so clumsy. Yeah, clumsy.
It's so marginal, though.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Do you know?
You see, he just probably lifts off the brakes just a slight bit and just bumps him.
Me and Lisa were having a big debate over could have Magnussen prevented the crash by not letting it roll backwards. But Lisa had a very good point of, but he's trying to get out of the way of the chasing pack.
Yeah. Plus, he doesn't. Oh, I assume he doesn't know Ricciardo's there at the time either.
No, of course not. Yeah. But it was a very 0 to 0 moment for Magnussen, even though it wasn't his doing.
Yeah. It was
Very unfortunate. Yeah. I mean, to me, this might be slightly controversial, but it's Ricciardo's fault. But he's wiped himself out of the race, so does it even need another penalty?
He's got one.
Yeah,
I know.
Which seems a little harsh, but
The penalty is the car's destroyed. You're out.
Yeah, it's when you ruin someone else's race. I think if Magnussen had carried on, I think then it's a different matter. As far as the stewards go, I mean.
So we're getting an early safety car on lap 1. At the restart, Max is right up behind Lewis. Russell waits to the last minute to floor it. And that puts Max right on Lewis's rear wing. He sends it round the outside to turn 1. But he's really quick, so he ends up giving him a narrow line into turn 2. And he tries to fight it out with Lewis. Lewis doesn't leave him any space. He's on the inside curb. There's contact. Both drivers go off. Max has front wing damage he needs to pit for. Lewis drops down, I think, to 8th. But manages to keep going with only a little bit of floor damage. The steward ruled that Max was at fault. Got a 5-second penalty. I'll let you guys decide on that one.
Oh, why? Can't you decide?
I gave him 2 in my opinion, so it's on to you guys.
It's a tricky one, but I kind of think they're right. Maybe not the penalty, but I think he's
biased.
At fault.
No, you're biased.
Oh yeah. But it's just, yes, he's on the inside, but I don't think he's making the corner. In terms of he would be going across the track. So even if Lewis had given him more room, I think he still would have gone into him. just because he's so tight on the corner. But
it was kind of like a nothing to lose scenario. Didn't he say that in one of the interviews? He had nothing to lose.
He did. It says that I saw he wasn't going to give him his space, so I just went for it. I knew I'd get 5 seconds, but whereas he would lost the race one.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But
that's not so
worse.
cool. Yeah, that's actually the more damning indictment than the footage, I thought. I read somewhere as well that he was 8 miles an hour quicker to the apex point than in any other lap.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it was a racing incident.
I thought that, but looking back at it again on boards, and I agree with Nick, he wasn't making turn 2.
Yeah.
And as you saw, by the way, Russell, I think, overtook him, round outside, or tried to overtake him,
But
and
backed out. Yeah.
As you have to be well, if you're right on the outside of that, and you're on what would be the inside of 2, you've still not got the corner because you're not making it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're on the outside, you need to kind of still be in the middle of the track to make the corner properly.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way the angle is. So I thought we should have given more room because he would have known that Max would have just sent it on it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't making the corner.
I mean, the championship's already decided, so he can do stuff like this. I don't know. For me, I still kind of feel like it was a 50-50 play on. One of the angles is from above, though, and that does kind of look like Max just is never going to stop. At first, I thought, that could be even Hamilton's fault, that. But then there's another angle, and you think, So, yeah. I don't disagree, Nick. I just think it's a bit of hard racing.
Oh, yeah. It just sounded like you just said, I don't disagree, but you're wrong.
Yes. Well, you're definitely biased.
Oh, yeah.
I'm British. And
yeah, that's the key factor. We're free Brits.
Well, yeah, that's what the internet has decided.
Well, who knows if Scotland goes independent? There will be 2 Brits.
True.
Who knows?
Oh, let's hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, we've had cryptocurrency. We don't need to go into regional politics.
We don't need to go into independence. So that's the first crash at the restart. The second crash is up the top of the hill, going on to turn 6, I believe. Fast right-hander going up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So Leclerc tries to go around the outside of Norris. Norris hits inside curb and understeers into the side of him, which sends Leclerc spinning into the barriers and somehow not out of the race.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Me.
Yeah, I thought, that's it. See you, Leclerc.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you just see him in the background driving around. Like, what happened there? So I think he had to pit for a new wing, but apart from that,
which wasn't
he got away fairly scot-free.
Yeah, it wasn't shown, was it? Him trying to recover.
No.
You saw the replay of him putting his hand up, going Then when you watch the best of onboard or something, he does drive back on the track. But during the broadcast, there was no footage of him dragging the front wing around. I don't think.
No, everyone was just saying, "Oh, this is going to be another safety car," and all of a sudden, you saw a green flag on the screen. It's like,
yeah.
"Oh, have they moved the car that quickly?" And it's like, "No."
No, Norris got a penalty for that, didn't he?
He did.
Yes. You got 5 seconds.
I think he clipped the curb on the inside of Ferradura, and then I think if he hadn't clipped the curb, it would have been all right. But he might say I was squeezed there, but I think he almost is a bit too tentative, and it causes incident.
Yeah, that penalty I'm more leaning towards racing incident, but obviously Lando did hit him.
Yeah. I thought it was a racing incident at first, and I was very surprised when a penalty, but I watched it back again, and he just he has a wobble over the curb a bit.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the penalty. I just think if I was
but you're wrong.
doing it, I would have gone for a racing incident, but yeah, it's a very tight one, because round there, if you're going round the outside of someone, it's always risky round there.
Unless the person on the inside fell to the Bottas and it just slammed on the brakes and there you go.
Can we talk about that now then? Because it's so timid.
He's side by side going up the hill. I knew as soon as the camera cut to it, he was going to park it, because Alonso's on the outside, and as soon as you see it's Bottas, you go, well, that move's done.
Yep.
Alonso probably knows that as well.
That.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows it on the grid, that he's just too timid in side-by-side racing. Bottas used to play Live for Speed competitively online on the PC, a very old simulator, before his professional racing career in Formula 1 took over, right? He needs to get back into it, because not learning the tracks or learning setup or the driving technique. It's just regular side-by-side racing. And he's an amazing driver apart from racecraft.
He's got an open invitation to play with us on Gran Turismo on a
Yeah.
Monday evening.
Yeah.
Making mistakes and being punted off. You can learn from it.
Yeah, it can put up with some of your dive bombs and then that'll
Right.
really help him.
If you can sustain those...
I've got a second and a half on turn one. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
As he suddenly zooms right past you into the gravel. Oh, okay, try for that.
I need to turn it down a bit, but I have the reverse scenario on issue as Bottas. If there's somewhere in the middle, it'd be ideal.
You are the anti-Bottas.
I'm the anti-Bottas. There you go.
There's a bunch of midfield stuff, which is interesting to watch. Not really worth noting, but it was enjoyable to watch some of the moves that were going on. Hamilton's recovering, and he's quite quickly back up into the top 4. It just looks incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Sainz's race gets ruined because his brake duct gets clogged by someone's visor tear off, and he has to pit because his brakes are on fire. So that sticks him onto a strategy he didn't want to be on. I think it put him on a free stop.
Yeah.
Which eventually got him a podium, but if he was on the 2, he'd probably been fighting Russell for the win at the end. I had tweeted at the last safety car, I think Sainz might win this because he had put on trace tyres, but he never really had the pace after that. Perez, he's on the mediums, he's dropping back. Everyone's overtaking him. Hamilton gets into turn 1.
Yep.
Alonso eventually gets him into 4, and then he lets Max go past. Get another safety car when Norris stops on track with an electrical fault, and marshals take a while to get rid of it.
Just on Norris,
on
it was definitely the best of the rest all weekend. I know Magnussen got pole, but for Norris to even overtake Magnussen within a sprint was quite impressive, I felt. There's not a huge pace differential between those cars. Oh, let's say not as big as the difference between a McLaren and a Haas and, a Red Bull or a Merc or a Ferrari. And it was, okay, he had that mistake and we'll debate about that with the penalty, but it was a really strong drive all weekend. Proves again, in my opinion, that if I was one of the top 3 teams and I did need to replace a driver, I'd probably have him at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Well, Christian Horner was talking at the weekend about how he was speaking to Norris.
Mm-hmm.
He says spoken to him a couple of times, but he says that basically as soon as they speak to him, it comes out the next day he's just signed a contract with McLaren.
Yeah.
And then Lando came out and says, yeah, we spoke, but it was just like it was a half an hour chat. It wasn't like a negotiation. But
could be Horner trying to undermine Perez somehow, somewhere.
Well, yeah.
We'll get to that.
Let's go into that now. So Perez is dropping through the field. He's on the wrong tyres. He's nowhere. Sainz gets him. Alonso gets him. Verstappen then is allowed back through. Before that, though, Verstappen took Ocon and Bottas in the one corner, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
The turn 1. Since we're no biased, we're giving them a bit of praise. And then now comes the criticism. So he gets let past Perez. If he doesn't get Alonso or if they're close, he's to let Perez back through. Doesn't do it. So Perez is raging that he's forced to sit in 6th or 7th, and he loses a point to Leclerc. He's fighting for 2nd, so they're going to the final race level. So Perez is apparently peed off because of this. It all kind of gets rumoured that this is stemming from Monaco, where apparently Perez is deliberately binned it in qualifying to keep 3rd.
Still very much unconfirmed, that, I think.
Yes.
If you track back to the original source, it's a bit...
There's a Dutch journalist that's reporting it.
Correct. Well, I shouldn't be biased.
No, but there's a Dutch journalist that's reporting it that Perez has apparently confirmed it to Marco and Horner during Azerbaijan weekend that he did it on purpose.
Why didn't it come out then, though? Why has it only come out now? That's my main query.
Yeah.
Well, they keep saying it's been rumbling around the paddock since then that people have kind of knew about it as an open secret, and even Brundle was talking about it on commentary. but it's not confirmed that that's actually what happened.
No,
So
we have to take it with a pinch of salt. That's the thing. Until it's
Max is
clearer.
Yeah, Max has apparently held a grudge. Red Bull's released a statement today saying that they've spoke about it. Everyone understands, have accepted Verstappen's reasoning for not letting him pass. It also said that Max wasn't told until the final corner to let him pass, which...
if you listen to the... Every driver's... Yeah, that's not quite true. If you listen to every driver's post-race radio on the F1 YouTube channel, he is told so many times... 5 times, I believe?
Yes.
And that's all just in the final corner? I'm not sure about that. But anyway, regardless of that, he's told in the initial deal, let him pass before the end, right?
I'm not sure on that because I believe it was Perez who was told Max will let you get through.
But we don't have the radio audit thing for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think, but I think this is incredibly petty from Verstappen. He's not fighting for anything in the title. He's a chance to help his teammate with a point. His teammate who handed him a world title last year, essentially, and has helped him on numerous occasions, and he wouldn't give up a 6th place for him.
Yeah.
Even if Perez had deliberately binned it in Monaco, not to give up a 6th place for him seems bizarrely petty.
Yeah. For me, it's not even that he did it. It's the way he said it on the radio about, I've already spoke about this. Don't ask me again. Have you got that? I think it was, or something very close to those lines, if not. And that basically is just, no, I'm not listening to the team. I will do what I want. That's what sits wrong for me.
It's a really bigger thing than that, because to have that mentality and say it in that way, to me, in my personal opinion, which is biased opinion, is that it shows that he's been mollycoddled, potentially, all through his time at Red Bull. He is the boss. They do what he says. And when you have an environment like that, it leads to hubris. And that's exactly what's happened here.
Yeah.
He's perhaps unaware of how arrogant and self-entitled that sounds when you've already won the Drivers' Championship. When your teammate fought like crazy for you last year in the final, made sure that you had the new car upgrades all through this year, pulled over in Barcelona, and had to come out today and say, I didn't crash deliberately in Monaco. It's petulant. It's the whole proverbial child throwing the dummy out of the pram, right? I mean, I'm with you there. It's the manner. It's the manner he did it. It's just
but there's no reason to do it. There's nothing else up for grabs with Verstappen. There wasn't a podium. There wasn't a win. He's already got the world championship.
The least he could do is give that point to his teammate for 2nd place.
Yeah, there seems no reason why you wouldn't.
No, and he needs to think he will probably be in a title fight next year. Because everyone else seems to be catching up a little bit more, certainly Mercedes. And he's probably going to rely on Perez at certain points of the year to help him. And will Checo now be keen to move out the way or compromise his own races, as he has been already?
I think he will be, because Red Bull will bung him an extra $1 million.
Yeah.
I've completely made that up. That's not true, but they have to diffuse the situation, so there's got to be something there. I also know that Verstappen's come out today and he's been targeted with abuse online, which is not acceptable. But at the same time, I never want to condone abuse, but you can't necessarily play the victim too easily in this scenario when you're being so extraordinarily rude.
Yeah, he did say though that he did say, you can have a go at me, that's fine. Leave my family out of it.
That's fair.
I do agree with.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You can have opinion on him, but it shouldn't go into anyone else.
Right.
That's fair enough, but that's fair enough, and I agree with that. Also, I think that you don't have to look at what people say about you on social media.
True.
So there is also that. But I'm getting really tired of the pattern in F1 these days. As soon as someone does something wrong, they release a statement about online abuse.
Yeah.
And claim that they're being bullied. Red Bull did it with a cost cap that says that kids were being bullied at school. Alpine did it the weekend because of the Ocon Alonso incident. Red Bull's done it again. In the previous weeks, everyone's releasing statements about online abuse. Like, we know social media is toxic. If you don't have to look at your mentions or things like that for these sort of things, you can filter that out. And I do think it's always deflection most weeks now. As soon as something comes out as negative, someone releases a statement about abuse. And to me, I'm over it. You can't claim the victim card every time you do something wrong, which seems to be the trend in F1.
Yeah, that's true.
You get caught cheating, you get a penalty, or people's kids have been bullied at school. Like, come on.
Yeah.
People need to do better online to stop online abuse, but you can't just claim victimhood every time there's something controversial in F1.
True. Yeah, but to be clear, we're saying don't attack Verstappen's family, but at the same time, yeah. Has he come out and apologised for it? I don't think he has, right?
No. I'm not condoning online abuse. I just don't like that every week someone's releasing a statement about it, and it comes immediately after they've been caught for doing something wrong, or there's been a controversial incident. It's just deflection most of the time, and
yeah, what you're saying is it's not necessarily perhaps potentially a genuine concern. It's more of a PR game to win back some of the favour, right?
I believe so. I mean, the people who are around Verstappen would have had negative comments on social media. Again, you don't have to look at it. Because if there's people coming to his door, or there's people using private phone numbers and emails and things like that, I've got more sympathy for that. But if people are leaving nasty comments on an Instagram post, you don't have to look at that. Is my non-PC opinion. These are not the opinions of my other co-hosts. But I just every week there's a statement about this, and I think it's time to park it.
Fair enough.
We know social media is awful.
Yep. And
it's getting worse around F1, but just get on with the racing.
I mean, one thing I wish they would do, but they will never do at Red Bull. Max has won the title. The team's won the team's title. And Max has been idiotic, shall we say, on this one. And gone against the team.
That's abuse.
Yeah, well, I was trying to pick my word carefully, but it is. He's not done what the team's asked him to. If I was in charge of Red Bull, I would say, well, you're not racing in Abu Dhabi. Sit this one out because you clearly haven't got the right mindset. But yeah, it's not going to happen.
They need to sell those little miniature Max helmets.
Yeah.
They can't.
But yeah, he should be shown that he is not bigger than the team somehow. But the problem is that he is, as far as they're concerned.
He is. And to their credit, that whole scenario has led to the dominant season. So it worked. Like, I could criticise the approach, but it's worked.
I did see an Instagram post this morning where it was cut off slightly, and it did say Liam Lawson to replace Max, and I was like, ooh, thinking, have they actually done it? Oh no, it's just for FP1. There was a brief moment, where I suddenly thought, oh, maybe they have.
So we're not accused of bias, because, we're not. Similar situation, with those slightly different apps at Ferrari. Leclerc requested that Sainz give up his podium so that he could get an extra point to fight Perez, and I don't think it was even put to Sainz.
Different scenario.
You're not going to give up a podium so that the guy can get second in the title.
The gap was big, though. The gap was huge.
Aye.
And Alonso wasn't too far behind Leclerc.
No, it was a totally different thing, but at the same time, if Max was third and they'd asked him to swap with Perez, then I would understand him saying.
Oh yeah, I'd be on Max's side then.
Yeah.
But the fact he's fighting for 6th and 7th. Not this time. He has said that he'll help Perez in any way he can in Abu Dhabi.
Be interesting to see if that does happen,
but didn't apologise.
Yeah.
No. The man has his reasons.
Yes, well, if only they were public and clear.
I know. Red Bull says they won't be commenting any further on it.
But they will comment every 20 seconds about the cost cap.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, okay. Just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
When it's actually something potentially valid, they're not going to say anything. You can't ask us, sorry.
What? This is my whole bloody moan about the PR spin of releasing statements and all that to try and be the victim. Just come out and answer the blooming questions and be honest.
Yeah.
But nobody has an F1. It's all game.
Nah, I have to say though, there's one good thing Red Bull did this weekend as a team. Well, there was many things, but the one thing that stood out was the front nose change for Max Verstappen. They did that in 10 seconds.
Wowzers.
Which is normally 12 plus, they say, is a minimum.
Goodness. It's a well-oiled machine when they've got time to think about how best to implement the nose fixation, and get it sorted in a quick time.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Yeah.
One thing on the Red Bull theme as well I liked is, they had the whole Sky boycott, which is now thankfully over.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't even get a chance to talk about
Which
that.
is another thing that's a bit petulant in my opinion.
Yes.
Channel 4 was broadcasting from Red Bull this time round. It was almost rubbing salt in the wounds.
Mm.
We're actually here from the MK7.
I do. But this is the full thing about all these PR things. Is it's not been a good month for Red Bull.
No.
And it is building a really negative image of them.
It is, yeah. Unfairly, because it overshadows the fact that they're the best team this year.
Oh, yeah, by a mile as well.
Yeah. Poor Adrian Newey caught up in this.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a few million quid a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll comfort him. Someone I've not mentioned about 20 minutes, but George Russell won his first ever Grand Prix.
Ah, yes. Now, I should say the biggest shame about all this Red Bull stuff is we've completely forgotten George Russell won a Grand Prix.
Yeah, brilliantly won a Grand Prix.
Smashed it. Yeah.
Mm. A nearly faultless weekend, apart from qualifying.
Yeah, that was a fault.
Yeah, but everything else, he was fast in every session. But yeah, that. And to be fair, it was bad weather, but
beat his teammate though, didn't he? Did not crack under pressure at any point. Took it to Verstappen in the sprint and won. I know there was a tyre differential there, but still, you've got to have the guts to do it.
Oh yeah, and he's on the verge of proving one of my predictions right for this year as well.
Oh no!
I know. There's not many that come true. Whereas I believe I said Russell would finish ahead of Hamilton this year in the championship.
Oh, I think he will do now. Is that set in, basically?
He is 25 points ahead, so he would have to be retired and Hamilton would have to win, or I say retired, out of the points to draw.
Yes, Hamilton, if he gets fastest lap as well as that.
Oh, yes. Good point, yeah. So it's not confirmed.
Yeah, it is a point. But it is over. And fair play for doing that. I know Hamilton's perhaps had a few unlucky bits, but so has Russell. What's been great, and this might change next year if they're fighting for a title, is the camaraderie and competitive spirit between the two. They're clearly fighting against each other, tooth and nail, and that must be bitter. But at the end of the race, they're like, well done.
Yeah, there's respect there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a mutual respect.
For now.
So, yeah. I mean, who knows? Hopefully, behind the scenes, they're not putting up walls and paying the mechanics €100 like Alonso. But...
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. How not to win over a teammate.
Yeah. So well done, George. That's a brilliant drive. Managed to beat Hamilton by a second and a half in the end.
Yeah, because at the end it was like, if Hamilton gets in DRS, that could be it. Mm-hmm. But he never really made it, and that must have been intense at the end.
Yeah, he kept keeping him like 1.1, 1.2 behind, and
Now, we could say Hamilton had some floor damage and stuff, but still, it's still impressive. To not crack under that pressure, like I said.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be an episode of the podcast without mention of the FIA. So there was some weirdness with Yuki Tsunoda.
Yes.
Who pitted under the safety car and came out of the pit lane in front of the safety car, but still hadn't technically unlapped himself, so he was out of position in the queue.
And then the restart had sort of pull over, right?
Yeah, so the new FIA automated system, which was put in after Abu Dhabi, I wonder why, didn't pick up that he was a lapped car still, because he had passed the safety car, but he hadn't passed the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So he was still a lap down, and the FIA only allowed 2 cars to unlap himself, and Tsunoda was kind of left in the middle. So when the restart came, he had to pull over to the side of the track and let everyone go past him, which is a shame, because he wasn't fighting for anything, but
but what if he was?
It took away the chance.
Yeah.
I know. It took away the chance of him fighting the 2 Williams cars. So, good bit of FIA competence as usual.
Yeah, even if he's just fighting if he gets ahead of the Williams cars and then people are retiring in front, you never know what could happen, right? So it's not fair. Yeah.
It was just one of those sort of perfect storm things, but at least it's been brought up it shouldn't happen again. But yes, where he pitted, wasn't it? He came out and he was in front of the safety car, but not once he'd rejoined the track, I believe. He was in front of the safety car while he was still in the pit exit.
Yeah, so he technically passed the safety car, so the FIA system says he had unlapped himself. But he hadn't because he hadn't passed the leader.
Yeah. So I can see how it would happen, but yeah, it shouldn't happen. That's for sure.
No. So we go into Abu Dhabi with second place up for grabs in the Drivers' Championship. Perez are level. Russell's confirmed fourth place in the championship. There's a fight between Hamilton and Sainz for fifth, and then the rest is not that interesting. Then you've got the teams championship,
which is the interesting bit, I think.
Which could end up being interesting, yeah.
Because of the money, even for lower places, matters.
Yeah.
There's more jeopardy there than the drivers.
Yeah. Ends up with Mercedes are 19 behind Ferrari.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, really.
So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They had no right to be that close, I don't think.
No. So they are 19 behind Ferrari, and then you've got to drop out on our 350 points before you hit
That's
Alpine.
crazy.
Alpine are now 19 ahead of McLaren, so that's pretty much sewn up for 4.
Was Alonso asking that on the radio at the end of the race as well?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I think Alonso was like, yeah, great result. How many points are we to McLaren? Ooh, that's good.
Well, if you look at the drivers' points total, you see how one-handed McLaren have been. Norris has scored 113 of their 148 points. And then below that you've got Ocon and Alonso are both in their 80s.
Yeah, and double retirement for McLaren this last race doesn't help, does it?
No.
So that's fourth essentially sewn up. Then you've got fight for 6. So you've got Alfa Romeo, who I'm surprised they're still in 6. Yeah. Given they were useless in the middle of the year. They're 5 points ahead of Aston.
Mm-hmm.
Who, if Stroll doesn't take out his teammate, still got a shot at getting that. And then for the fight for 8th, you've got Haas, 2 points ahead of AlphaTauri, which is tight, and it's going to be hard to see how either of them score points in Abu Dhabi.
There's about 10 million difference between them, money-wise.
I'm not sure.
I think it's
a lot of money, though.
And then you have Williams on 8 points at the back.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad, because it was a year where, with new rules, you'd think, oh, could they do it?
Well,
they didn't do it.
They had a much more successful 21 than they have 22.
Which is weird, right?
Well, they were 8th last year. They beat Alfa Romeo as well. So, to go back to the back of the pack, that's a pretty awful year. So there is some stories going into Abu Dhabi. So also Sebastian Vettel's last race.
Yeah.
It's weird that him and Schumacher are leaving at the same time.
Yeah, that is true. I do think we will see Mick in that reserve driver role at Mercedes, though.
Yeah. And it's also strongly rumoured that Ricciardo is now going back to Red Bull to be their reserve driver next year.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about that.
Seems a waste of a seat to me.
Yeah.
Only because, you've got to have these young drivers getting seat time.
Yeah. Which isn't going to happen next year. Do you think it's a bit of a threat to Perez?
Probably.
Because if you don't comply next year, we'll stick Ricciardo in the car.
Yeah. It's another way of doing it, isn't it?
I would have said so 2 years ago, but Ricciardo's form over the last few years has just been so poor that you can't put him in ahead of Perez.
I know it's not a strong threat, is it?
No.
If you don't comply, we'll put someone awful in the car.
Yeah. Not that
who knows?
I do like Danny Rick. And he is a good driver, but he just hasn't gelled with these cars.
No. I suppose it'll be a good experience for him getting back in a top car. But as we've spoken about, it's hard to see him getting a seat back. I thought he would have had better chance of going as Mercedes reserve driver, in case Hamilton walked away than he does getting back in a proper Red Bull race seat.
Yeah.
his career's over in Formula One, in my opinion, as in terms of a full-time driver.
Yeah, it's hard to see. So, Abu Dhabi this weekend. Final race of the year. It's been a long slog.
I don't ever want to watch a race at Abu Dhabi again after last year. I was watching
Yeah.
5 incredible moments from Abu Dhabi on the Formula 1 YouTube channel, and I got to number 1 and I went, I'm out.
Yeah. It's like,
Because
what
you can
could
guess
this
what
be?
it was. Yeah.
Did you see Hamilton and Timo Glock doing
Yeah.
an interview together at Brazil at the
Oh,
weekend?
I didn't, but he works for German Sky, right? Glock. I did listen to, is it Beyond the Grid, the podcast that Formula 1 publishes with Tom Clarkson? I really enjoy it. And he interviewed Glock on there a couple of months back. And they were saying how only recently did they ever, but now he's in the Sky role, that was the first time they ever actually got to talk to each other recently. And he did an interview with Hamilton, and it was really good. This must have been now this I was at another race, but now obviously they did it at Brazil. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sat down and talked about it, and he asked Hamilton, does 2008 kind of feel the same as 2021, losing it in the last bit? And he went, no, because 2008 and 2007 were just, normal races, whereas 2021 was manipulated.
Ooh, good answer.
So,
Yeah.
it was, well done, Lewis, for doing that. But it was quite interesting to watch Glock and him talk through it.
Yeah.
Because, and then they had apparently met Felipe Massa for the first time since then.
Yes.
Like a few months ago. And I think there's a clip from those two at the weekend as well, having a big hug and all that. Which, fair play to Felipe for not holding a grudge, but some drivers would be quite bitter about all that.
That's what I found quite interesting with the whole that Lewis now has Brazilian citizenship.
Yes.
And he's sort of been adopted by the Brazilians, and I'm thinking they hated him back then because he took the title away from Massa.
Oh, those scenes! I watched those scenes again the other day because, Lisa's just got into F1 through Drive to Survive, and then, do you know what? People just say, "Oh, Drive to Survive, blah blah blah." That's the only thing. I'm sorry, but F1's digital strategy and content is a huge factor as well. It's not just Drive to Survive. She watched Drive to Survive, then followed Formula 1 on Instagram, and it's brilliant. And now she's getting into it, and I'm like, right, no spoilers. Don't be looking on Instagram. Shit. And then she follows through the drivers, and she's really into that side of the sport.
Yeah.
And so we watched the post-race thing with Massa doing the interviews, and I was like, oh, do you know who that is? It's Felipe Massa interviewing Lewis Hamilton. She's like, all right, so what? I'm like, fire up the YouTube. And we watched the final lap and all that play out and stuff. And again, the Formula 1 YouTube channel has it, so you get hooked into this ecosystem, and every other sport needs to follow that. Well, final point on that. That's clearly what other sports do, but every other motorsport doesn't.
Yeah.
They're really behind the curve. Sorry, so where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, so the final is that Glock. Still amazing, isn't it? And the emotion and actually the grace and panache that the Massa family has. Obviously it's a gutting moment for them, but to still be on the podium, crying with the flag, proud, clapping with the crowd, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
I can imagine it'd be hard these days for a lot of drivers to take losing those sort of things.
Yeah.
Like the Hamilton last year, he handled that with such
Oh,
dignity.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And we don't know, but I just, I shouldn't say this, but a little bit of you thinks if it was the other way around and it was Max, he'd be not shaking their hand and storming off.
Doing a Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of the drivers now, you would have to question whether they would do that or because they're in the social media age, they would go off their nut.
And I hate to go back to Hamilton, but so many people hate him. The people that hate him are people who don't watch Formula 1. When you watch Formula 1, you realise he's considered, he's polite, he's careful, he thinks really carefully about the fans and the other people he's racing with. He might not always be right, but at least he's been trying to be a role model. And over the last few years, my respect with all these defeats and stuff has grown from him immeasurably, because there was a period, especially when he was dominating, where I really just wasn't a fan. And I can understand why people don't. But it's the humbleness of defeat, which is a mark of a legend, I think.
Yeah, because looking back on one of my other predictions, I also said that Hamilton would not see out the season and he would retire. And that is completely... I just thought he was never going to get on with that car. He'd be beaten by Russell.
But to keep going
and to fight.
Resilient, isn't it?
Yeah, he's completely turned the other way, and he looks like it's invigorated him more to come back stronger.
Yeah, even in the late days of his career, and with such a strong teammate. Now, next year, Russell might smash him, but at least this year, it's shown a fighting spirit, hasn't it, still?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I don't know how we get down this path. We should really wrap this up.
We're already excited with 2023. There we go.
Yeah, that's a good thing to end on, because come on, Formula One, you can do it.
Because we got Abu Dhabi to get through first.
We've got Abu
Yeah, so we have one more podcast left of the year, because we're not going to do a season review episode, because I can't be bored.
It wasn't a vintage year, was it? So
No,
it wasn't what we were advertised at the start of the season. But it was a chance to go out on a high in Abu Dhabi, which, as we know, is always a proper racetrack with proper exciting moves.
Vintage
on it,
circuit,
and
one of the favourites. Everybody wants it in their sim racing games. It's in the best tracks list of all time.
If you thought Interlagos was good, wait for this. So, yes, we'll be back with whatever happens in Abu Dhabi next week for our last podcast of the year before we break for Christmas. It's mental that that's been a full season already.
yeah.
It feels long when you look back, but actually, like, we were all excited, and it feels like it was like 3 weeks ago for the start. So, one more to go, and then nice wee break. So, thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, thank you.